Okay, so we have several other stories we want to get to this morning. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Hoon. Syleste Rodriguez is going to join us here in the next minute or two. But the question about what to do up in outer space. Oh, look at this. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Who was that? This is a photo bomb I love right there. I'm really good, Celeste. Come on in. We're going to talk about, we don't need to be panicked, but at the same time, we do need to take seriously the possibility, which apparently is growing, that this asteroid they're keeping track of, by the way, the asteroid, Celeste, is called, it's the 2024 YR4.
Okay.
Now, this is all animation stuff from NASA. And maybe we got to go do that. Maybe we got to shoot a laser at the asteroid or something like that. Look at this. This is like my favorite video on the whole thing.
Where was that video taken? It looked like maybe it could have been Meteor Crater up in the high country. They do a lot of work up there.
Yes. Yeah.
NASA, a lot of
absolutely.
studying.
I was taking a look at that. For a second there, I thought maybe it was Mars. And then I thought, oh, look, there's Meteor Crater. Oh, the video comes by so fast. Anyway, Celeste, this asteroid is the size of a football field. It's 300 feet long.
Wow.
I mean, it's substantial, but Lowell Observatory, we can at least rest a little bit easy that they're on top of it. And they're one of about 4 telescopes in the world that have the capability to monitor its path. And they updated at the beginning. There it is. Does that look like?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's pretty cool. Have you been up to Lowell, Ron?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, isn't that a cool spot?
Yeah, it's a great place
And that
to go.
huge telescope that's in there.
I know. It's
Wow.
and the discovery of Pluto
Yes.
almost a century ago. Anyway, here's what the folks at Lowell Observatory said is what's going on with all of this, and are we going to be knocked to smithereens?
Oh, okay.
Right now we're sort of in this transition where the telescopes like the Lowell Discovery Telescope, which is a 4-meter telescope, 16, 17 feet across, those are the only telescopes in the world that can see it. Not going to cause mass extinction events. It's not, the end of the dinosaurs-like impact,
that's
but
good.
it would have significant regional consequences.
Okay, significant regional consequences. The problem is, who knows what region? As I said yesterday, you might want to get ready to sell the house.
Right.
Yeah, although it's in 2032, but then where do you move to?
I know. What continent?
Correct.
Or is it in the middle of the ocean that this asteroid could potentially strike?
By the way, I have heard, I'm trying to remember from my last time up at Meteor Crater, which has been several years ago, but it seems to me the asteroid that hit was not as large as this one. And look at all the displacement it did there. I want to say it was the size of maybe a few cars.
Oh, and this one is the size of a football field.
Yeah.
So
it's
I wonder
going to do more damage if it hits.
And I wonder if it'll need more direct hits, to
knock it off
course. Right.
Correct.
Don't
Yeah.
you think, Ron?
Do we have to knock it off its course to avoid America or the whole Earth?
I don't know.
What's our obligation?
Putin would be quite upset, I think. But I wonder if it's like a slingshot or, it's very interesting.
Well, we got to be careful. We don't want it to circle around and hit the moon or something, or Mars. I mean, we all want to go up to Mars.
That would not be good.
Anyway, they do have some plans in the works if they have to kind of knock it off of its trajectory. Celeste, for the second time now in 2 nights, we've had officer-involved shootings, just kind of highlighting how violent our city has become.
Oh.
So this one happened up around 29th Avenue in Northern. Phoenix police were involved in this again. They were doing something called proactive policing, and they decided they wanted to make contact with some guys up in that neighborhood at around 5:30 last night in a white SUV. But here's the thing. Instead of the guys in that SUV just rolling down their window and saying, "Hey, officers, what's up? What can we do for you?" They take off running. Now, blasting out of there. Nobody seems to know why.
Well, that's
but
that's a big red flag. The second the officer shows up, you just beeline for some location.
Right. So when it started actually heading toward an officer, they felt like they had no choice but to open fire. Take a listen.
Both these men are adult males. Both have been transported to a nearby hospital. Both suffered gunshot wounds. Both of their injuries are considered non-life-threatening.
Okay, so the passenger had bailed out at some point. Remember, it started at 29th Ave and Northern, ends up at 59th Ave and Northern. So, I mean, it turned into a chase. The passenger was found hiding somewhere in the neighborhood, and the driver of the car was arrested. So we keep track of it, and we're not 100% sure what the whole proactive policing thing is, but it sounds like whatever their suspicions were proved to be right, because these guys did not want to stick around to talk to them. Okay, so we follow that one. It's been a couple of nights where our police officers, once again, they put their lives on the line on an every night basis. So, Celeste, I don't know if you heard, but the judge in Boston ruled that those federal buyouts can move forward.
Yes.
And so he said the labor unions that were suing, I think that's, they've got a big concern that they have a lot of their members that are saying, hey, I get a buyout? I didn't even know that was a possibility.
Right.
I mean, it happens in the private sector a lot. And so, I mean, I've had people in my own family who are like, they're like, we're going to have to make some cuts here, but we're going to give you a buyout offer.
Well, and I think one of the things that they had addressed at some of the press conferences, at the White House, was that a lot of the people who they're giving this buyout option to are people who already have been working from home. So apparently many people have been working from home with the federal government for years now.
And remember what it was like for you and for me. We both worked from home in about the first year and a few months of the pandemic. And you don't want to come back in.
No, you don't.
You get into a groove. I totally get it.
I know. For the first month, it's hard, right? Ron, wasn't it difficult for you like in the first 1 to 3 months?
Nope. No,
really?
Not at all.
I'm my goodness.
Yeah, we got a McDonald's on the corner. We've got a few little restaurants we can walk to.
Maybe it's that
here.
my kids were going to school at the same time.
Is that
so
what it
I was quasi
Yeah.
teacher, quasi working, quasi cook,
Right.
cleaner, whatever. But, then you get into a rhythm and you don't. And you're like, wait, hold on.
It can be hard. But if you're looking at it, you're saying, I was going to probably retire within the next 2 or 3 or 4 years anyway.
Yes.
Want to take the buyout, get paid. And by the way, you're about to hear from right out in front of the White House. They now say they're actually apparently going to get paid until October. Listen.
If you choose not to do so, that's your prerogative. Guess what? We'll even give you up until October's pay. No problem. But you got to go.
So we're talking 75,000 employees who have taken them up on it. It's all part of the effort to try to reduce the overall size and cost of the federal bureaucracy. At one time, the administration was thinking instead of 3 or 4%, they could get 5% or up to 10%. But Celeste, it brings us to our poll question, and here it is. With already almost 200 votes, people have certain opinions on a lot of this stuff. So here we go. What do you think about this? 75,000 workers finally given the A-OK. Got to be a relief for them. 76% say good. You know what? We need to cut the size of government. 15% say bad. They help to keep the government running.
Right.
And then almost 10% say I'm okay with this, but I do worry about the deeper cuts that could be coming from DOGE.
Yeah. And so that was something they addressed too. And they said, if the Trump administration, they ran on the idea that they wanted to cut government down and work on inflation and work on the budget. And this was one of the things that people are in favor of.
Okay, take a look at this town, would you? That is our mystery cam for the day. Where do you think it is? We're back in 2 minutes. As usual, we're getting some really good guesses in the chat box from you guys. So let's see. Linda just hopped on. We love Linda. She's out there in the great Gila Valley, Safford and Thatcher. She said Mississippi, and Louie hopped on and said maybe it's Bama, Alabama.
Yeah. Lisa Dinsmore says Delaware. Angela Brockelman, I'm going to go with you, West Virginia. I'm going to say West Virginia today. KDJW5 says Georgia. or
Yeah.
some sort of southern state.
Mhm.
Louis, Alabama, and then of course we have a lot of you sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Sure. Okay, let's just see here. I think I actually am going to go with Alabama too, and I don't. There's something about those trees that says Gulf Coast to me.
Okay. Oh, and the wind. It's windy. Do you see the trees, Ron?
Yes, I do. But when you turn the corner right there where those cars are parked,
Okay.
it makes me think of the state capitol in Alabama.
Okay, what's that sign down at the bottom right-hand corner? Can you read the first part of that sign?
I can't, but
Something
store.
store. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go with
Okay.
Alabama,
Okay.
and you're going with?
West Virginia.
Okay, almost heaven.
Jasper, Texas.
Oh, well, there you go.
We didn't get one Texas today.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
We were all around it.
Oh, no, Sherry, Nevada Pup said
Oh,
Texas.
good. Okay. And
Well done, Sherry.
KDJW, by the way, did say I'm going for Georgia or a southern state, which Texas is southern.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
At least part of it.
I don't know if they put themselves in the South. They kind of almost think they're their own country.
Them and California. They're like, can we make our own money? We wanted to give a big shout out here to Tyler Lewis, who said, Ron, we were just talking about working from home. He said he's been working from home for a while. When he went to work from home, he thought it was going to be 2 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you remember when you and I went home?
Yep.
Yeah. And
I remember Kelly, our editor, he's like, okay, I'm going to take my laptop. See you guys soon. You know?
I'm like,
Holy cow.
okay, 2 weeks at home. That sounds okay.
Yeah,
We'll
right.
try this whole thing out.
Yeah. All right, let's see how many of these stories we can get to, you guys.
Let's do it.
By the way, we do have one other live picture. I'm very excited. We have a new camera to show you.
Yes, we do.
That's just a little bit of. Oh,
Ooh.
this is a camera that moves.
And is that the London Bridge?
That's the London Bridge. So we're obviously looking at Lake Havasu, and off to the left, you're looking over toward California. If those clouds look dark and ominous, they should, because if you're in the LHC, which, by the way, for our worldwide audience, this is about a 3-hour drive from Phoenix. It's right out there along the Colorado River. Now, this is a little inlet. That's not the river itself, but you can see the river off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they purchased it when they built Lake Havasu City, Robert McCullough, and they reassembled it brick by brick right here in the desert. It's a super cool place to go hang out. We think that within about an hour, by around 11:15 to 11:30, it will probably start raining. And that'll be the beginning of the rains coming into Arizona between today and really for about the next 36 hours.
Hey, Ron, real quick. Plenty of the folks in the chat box said that was a Red Wing shoe store. So
good.
thank you. Yes, Lisa Dinsmore and a lot of other you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, keeping us on track.
Yeah, very nice. Hey, just wanted a real quick political note. I thought this was interesting, Celeste.
Yes.
But Karen Taylor Robeson did announce that she's a candidate for governor yesterday. She put a post on social reminding people that she already has the endorsement of President Donald J. Trump, which is interesting because a pretty big fan of President Trump is the Republican congressman out there in the East Valley, Andy Biggs. He has been saying that he's going to run for governor, filed a statement of interest, as a matter of fact. So that sets up what could be kind of an epic battle. You assume that our current governor, who's a Democrat, is going to be running once again for re-election, Katie Hobbs. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. But just interesting that we're already to the point where, folks take a look at it and they say, hey, what if, for example, we were in a situation where we have what could be one of the better primaries anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, on to our next story, Celeste,
Let's do it.
which has to do with, did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that today is, stand by for it now.
Yes,
Today
I
is
know.
Galentine's Day.
No, I didn't know
Here
that.
we go.
There's so many ways to celebrate Galentine's Day that it's really limited only by your imagination.
How about that? The whole idea is it all started with an episode of some comedy show a few years ago.
Okay.
Where they were talking about, oh, we're all getting together because it's Galentine's Day. And it's almost like Festivus, which came out of a Seinfeld episode.
Yes.
And this has taken on a life of its own. And they say that, by the hundreds, if not the thousands of groups of ladies are going to get together and just enjoy some activities like getting mani-pedis or just hanging out at the restaurant and celebrate their sisterhood
Yes.
one day before they hang out with the man in their
heading
life.
to the nail salon is no easy feat when you have children, Ron.
Oh, is that so?
So if you go get a mani-pedi,
Yes.
that's kind of a sweet treat. Have you ever had a mani-pedi, Ron?
Yes, once. But I think it was only a pedi.
Oh, no mani.
Yeah. This was like 15 years ago. I think it was only my feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, times have changed. They've come out with new colors, new tools.
Great. That's what I was waiting for. I'm like, so all you guys can do is like clear or red?
Come on.
Come on.
Where's the hot pink?
Anyway, if you're celebrating Galentine's Day today, which Renee's going to be doing that tonight.
Oh,
She and a
okay.
whole bunch of friends from the neighborhood
Oh, that's
are
great.
going to be getting together somewhere.
Good for
and
them.
having a nice meal. Okay, so when it comes to spending on Valentine's Day, this I thought, Celeste, was very interesting.
Mhm.
That the sorry, I just had a flashback of eggs. I don't know
Oh.
why.
Well, if you give me a dozen eggs,
Yeah.
that's the key to
That's
my heart.
better than a dozen roses
Yes.
anymore. So the new survey is out, and I want to get your take on it because it says the average American is going to spend about $150. You're going to go out to a nice meal. You're going to buy a dozen roses, that kind of a thing. Which generation do you think is going to spend the most? Baby boomers, Gen Z, Gen X.
I'll go Gen Z.
Okay, it is Gen Z. And here's the other thing. Men are much more likely to spend than women. Now, what's up with that, Celeste?
Oh.
Hmm?
I
What do you
think they're
think?
trying to, maybe they're trying to lure in the lady. They're like, hey, maybe it's a new love.
Okay.
They want to show up big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have the lady believing that this is what all dates are going to be like. You're
Well-
going to be at the fanciest steakhouse in Scottsdale.
So I think
and-
you bring up a good, remark here because
Okay.
let's say your date took you. We were talking to Priscilla at 96.9 The
I
Mix
heard.
this morning.
Yep.
And she said her husband took her to Olive Garden
For their first
date. Yeah.
Right.
And I love that. I love the endless salad and soup
Yeah.
and breadsticks.
And breadsticks.
Yes.
Breadsticks alone.
Order a little side of Alfredo, and my goodness, it's going to be a good meal. But she said she thinks he even used the app that had a coupon, and they've been married and have kids, and
See.
I think it is a
Doesn't-
fiscal responsibility is important.
Good.
If you are really looking for a good partner,
Okay.
you can make it into a funny joke and just kind of like be
Sure.
lighthearted about it.
Sure.
Don't you think?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's one more thing to worry about, guys. Now she's judging you on whether or not you're frugal.
Right.
Yeah. Or do you have fiscal responsibility?
Yeah, because that will tell you whether or not you're paying your bills on time. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, because for
Yeah.
all those ladies out there, if you
Right.
remember Destiny's Child, got to pay my automobile, got to pay
Yes.
my telephone bill. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on.
Well, we always like to do a shout out to the girls who pay their rent on time.
We love that song.
Who was that again?
Bruno Mars.
What song is that?
Chunk-
Shout out to
to
the girls who
Chunky.
pay their rent on time.
Chunky. So this is a flashback to all you in the chat box and on the stream. Ron and I were working early one morning. I come in, play a little Chunky with Bruno Mars as
Yeah.
I'm walking into the studio to
Yeah.
start the news.
Yeah.
And Ron's like, what is happening? Who is this? And I said, Ron,
Yeah.
shout out to the girls who pay their rent on time.
Okay. Well, we know what Bruno's looking for. Celeste, let me just ask you this.
Mhm.
Do you take naps most days or not?
Oh,
Are you
yes.
like 1 day a week, 5 days a week? What do
Bring
you,
it on.
Yeah.
I nap in the car if I can. At
Wow.
practice, watching my
Wow.
kids. Give me that 20-minute power nap,
Okay.
and that is it. It is amazing.
Well, a new survey came out, and it says that the very specific best time of the day, this is assuming you're on kind of a 9 to 5,
Mhm.
or you get up with the sun and you go to bed, after the sun goes to bed. 1:42 in the afternoon.
Yes.
A study was commissioned It found that most people want to nap for 51 minutes.
That is a long time.
Most of the time, if I nap, this is why I try to avoid it.
Yeah.
It can be a 2-hour nap.
Oh, and
And
do you wake up groggy?
After
Do you
2 hours.
do you have a soda afterwards to help give you a little boost?
I've tried that, but then I can't get to bed
Oh
at the normal
no.
bedtime. But you know what I do is I do like to go out in the backyard
Yes.
and get a little natural vitamin D.
Yeah.
I like to go out there
Oh.
for like 10 or 15 minutes and then listen to an audible. And
So you're just listening to an audible and like standing outside your house?
sitting
Oh, sitting out
in the
front.
backyard,
Oh, in the backyard.
not out front.
I'm wondering if you're just standing there in the front sidewalk with your hands on your
Well,
hips.
but it's a good way to fall asleep for a very quick nap because then you snap out of it like 10 minutes later. What did I miss? So anyway, now you know, and we only have time for one more story.
Ron, real quick,
yeah.
because I know we're rushing through. Contessa Cruz Diaz.
Yes.
I think you might be a new maybe viewer, not
Hello,
sure.
Contessa.
She said it's raining in Bullhead City. We're watching the storm system move through across
great.
Arizona.
Let me go back to that one more time. Okay, LHC, you can see the palm trees are moving even more. The rain is coming your way because just up north in the BHC, not the LHC, they're already getting the rain. Okay,